Greetings on Creative Society TV. We are happy to see everyone at this international discussion held in continuation of the International Online Forum We Are People, We Want to Live, which took place on May 7th, 2022. And we raised a lot of crucial topics during the forum that concern every person that lives on this planet. And so much information was gathered during the preparation that we could not fit everything in the 11 hours broadcast. So today we will continue discussing on these topics. My co-host today is Robert from Slovakia. Robert, hi, and I will let you introduce our special guest.
Greetings, everybody. And we welcome you on this international discussion as we continue this series of the international discussions that we are having after the forum. And our guests today, I'm very happy to introduce the format which we have now is not working properly. Which part of the forum have you found the most associated with? It could be meeting this kind of information, not only at the forum, but also in your everyday life. Dr. Shilpa, what is that touching point that you would like to share?
And a very good evening to all of you from India here. And I had seen a lot of small talks which had happened in the forum, in the conference, and particularly I would like to touch upon the global crisis which we all, as a humanity, are facing nowadays. Especially the war conditions which are happening. Apart from that, we also are facing the pandemic. The pandemic has brought in a lot of changes in our entire, the life of our entire citizens of the world. And being an educator, I have seen changes happening in the life of my students, my students here in India. And since we are an educator, we feel education should reach everywhere, from a small child to an adult who wants to learn or wants to study, education should reach everywhere. But so here in India, we had a divide, there was a digital divide. Not all of us had devices, not all of us had internet facilities. So that was a big problem in front of us, that how are we going to educate our kids and how are we going to educate our future citizens, So like that, lots of problems are being faced by all of us. And basically what we would like to touch now would be about global crisis. That is what I also had.
It is, there are a lot of concerns about not only education, but providing everything for every human being living on this planet, be it electricity, food, medicine, and obviously healthcare of excellent quality. So we are 100% with you on that. Wissam, can you please tell us what was your marking point of the forum?
Okay, good evening first, everybody. I'm so pleased to join this amazing idea that will, I hope, one day will change the world to a better place and to better days. My plan, or what I was thinking of, is that in our days, especially in the last 50 years, I find that the human rights become so weird, so different. And we are living, I feel that we are living in a very separate islands, something very old. Not all the people believe in it. And most of the people all around the world are thinking about themselves alone. Nobody's thinking about the other people, how I help, how I become a fruitful, how I become a helpful element in this world. They're not thinking about this, or they are not thinking in this way. They are thinking in how I reach my aim, how I do my goals, whatever I will destroy in order to find this goal, I will. I think that there is a kind of a very valuable piece inside our hearts disappeared in the last 50 or 60 years. And this is so weird because I think after the Second World War, or the Second World War as it is, it's a big lesson. It must be a big lesson to all of us to understand that hatred, that facing each other, it's not the theory that will help the human race in the future. It will destroy everything. So that's what, this is my main concern about the big problem.
Formed in a proper way. So that is the reason why people are reluctant to look into the information that they are actually receiving. And we can see that not only on the regular news or something like that, but also on the scientific reports that are many times contradicted one another. Let's have a short video about ecology.
Your life is in danger. We are massively destroying the forest for timber, cutting down centuries-old tropical forest to plant coffee, cocoa, and soybeans because they are well paid for. We have lost as many forests in the last 100 years as we did in the previous 9,000 years. Where the forest disappears, all life dies. But in the consumerist format, we can't give up logging because the forest industry implies millions of jobs. It turns out that in order to survive, we must destroy what gives us life. The amount of fines for environmental violations is far less than the cost of environmentally friendly technology. The money from the fines goes into the state budget. At best, they are allocated to eliminate the consequences, but the cause still remains. And why eliminate it? We can continue to fine and sell emission quotas and licenses. As long as one can make money on this, the problem will never be solved. The consumer society is a society of lies. Now, 1 in 3 people does not dollars. That is, if we give up spending on the war for just 1 year, we can provide clean drinking water for all of these countries for almost 2 decades to come. In a consumer society, fostering hostility and fear is more important than caring for one's neighbor and future generations. Consumer society is a format of inhumanity. Another serious problem of our time is that there are no accessible and safe technologies for waste disposal. Our planet has become a giant landfill. For example, less than 10% of plastic is recycled. Derive over 1/3 of their income from the sale of products that are a serious threat to the environment and human health, causing mutations in the body, cancer, and reproductive disorders. Because of the proven harm, most of these harmful substances are banned from use in developed countries. But in order not to lose profits, manufacturers continue to sell them to third world countries, ignoring the fact that we all live on the same planet. And air masses and sea currents do not respect political boundaries. In the consumerist format, financial interests take precedence over human life. to save your life and life on the planet. It is necessary to build the creative society, a safe, fair, sensible society in which the main value is the life of every person.
We can see that there is a lot of things that do not make it to the mainstream media. And even organizations that are aimed to fight all these causes and that take actually millions, billions of dollars every year to fight hunger, poverty, lack of fresh water, or climate for the same matter, they really solve absolutely nothing. And I think that you, Wissam, you have told us that you have stopped watching all the videos from the United Nations because you no longer believe these. Can you please expand a little bit on this?
Yes. I'll tell you, from my background as my career, I am a TV producer, so I am involved in this kind of business. I want to tell you something that if you want to find this, the main point or the main issue of this big problem is that every system in this world, the broadcast system, every system. I speak especially on the broadcast. It's working because of money, of dollars especially, regardless what they are saying. If the message that they are broadcasted, they don't care if it's destroying the world or it's building people and building life. They don't care about this. They are as professional as they can do anything in a very attractive way. Broadcast elements. They use the how to make the people concentrate. They are professional enough to know how to put the idea inside your head. Whatever this idea is, good or it's bad. Is it useful or is it harmful? Regardless, they don't care about this point. And unfortunately, it's not. It's in all the world, all the countries, all the broadcast system through all the world, all over the world, are working with this kind of survey. So I stopped watching the United Nations movies or messages videos that they make, because I know that, or I believe that the big problem is in the global system. This is United States and Europe and most of the big countries are speaking about the global economy and the global system, that this will be helpful for humans, and this will help. But after many years now, we are talking about 30 years, almost 30 years, we find out that no, this system become the main enemy to human beings, especially when especially when you are talking or when you are thinking about food in this world, safety in this world, non-pollution in this world, you will find that the global economy did nothing. Otherwise, we find now that we are in 2022 and we find people are dying from hunger. We find people that they are dying because there is no medicine, because of pollution. So come on. What the dollars did? The dollars did nothing. The dollars of the UN did nothing till now, because till this moment, as we saw in the last movie, it's people are dying for hunger till now, for no medicine till now, war everywhere till now. So come on, what you did for the human rights, what you did for the peace of our human rights, you did nothing. This is the point.
Oh yes, it's all the time like that. And especially if you look at the countries that they're saying how much they're bragging, how much they invested in those countries to improve everything. And after a period of time, 10 years, 15 years, 30 years, nothing has changed. Everything is getting even worse and worse. And same goes with UN bragging how they invest in education, for example, in India. And did anything change, Dr. Shilpa?
Yeah, I think what Mrs. Zaki just said is quite resonating. What is happening here in India. Yeah, what we are just doing is we're just talking about, the problems, the hunger, especially the global crisis. We see a lot of people, more than 45 million people all over the world still dying of hunger in almost 43 nations across the globe. What are we as person, as a human being, are we doing? What is United Nations doing? What other countries, the so-called developed countries, are doing for removing this, the global crisis? No one is doing anything. We are just talking about it, or we are just documenting about it. But are we going further? Doing something, some philanthropic act where we try to reduce, some type of hunger, the problems what are every country is facing. Basically, in India, we know there are people below poverty line who don't get food, not even for one meal a day. And we have certain NGOs who are working towards this cause, providing food, but then that won't be sufficient. We need many hands coming together. We need a proper society, a proper forum of people working towards this cause. And if we are saying global crisis, why don't we touch upon one aspect of the global crisis, try to reduce this crisis, try to eradicate the crisis, and then move towards the another one. We can prioritize, and then we can work upon it. So that way, I think all humans together can come, form a society, and try to resolve the problem. And I think no big forums like United Nations or anyone would be able to help us. They will be just creating documentaries, giving us the factual knowledge about the problem, but actually, in reality, there is no resolution. So I completely agree with Mr. Zaki. Thank you.
Yeah. I think that the problem is not that there is a lack of expressed desire. The lack is there is a total lack of valuing of human life, each human life, and this is a problem because until then, all these organizations, they are money-making machines. Their only goal is to grow themselves. Imagine their budget is replenished. The more the problem grows, the more they receive money, the more they receive funding. And as any other living, let's say, organism in this consumerism, they just want to grow. They don't want to reduce the number of employees. They don't want to reduce their salaries. So they're interested in this situation to perpetuate. And it doesn't matter how many organizations will be involved in solving crisis or in any particular country or globally around the world, until we get to this point where we all decide that human life is the highest value and everything is regarded through this optic, does this solution, does this change in our society, how does it help everyone? Does it diminish the quality of life of even a single person? Then we should be maybe trying to a different approach, And this is where creative society goes in, and this is what it's all about. It is reframing how we look at the world, how we plan our actions in order to provide everything, but for every person, every single living human being on this planet, not only any particular group living in a particular country or a piece of land, but for everyone. And everything actually becomes quite simple once we just ask at least one simple question. Does this improve, or how does this affect the lives of human beings, every one of us? So what are your thoughts on this?
Is this question for me?
Look, it can be for you or it can be for Wissam, for both of you, actually. Maybe if you're ready, you can start.
Let's hear
You
Mr.
start,
Zaki.
Doctor. You start, Doctor, first.
No, I think Mr. Zaki, you can speak about it first, and I can put my views later.
Okay. So, yes, what you said, Alexei, is you reached the point that I was looking for. Actually, it's about the quality, not the quantity. The quality of serving the world, not how much money I spend to serve the world. It's the quality, and I think it's the radical point is the human being value, the human being lives. This is the real value that we must all look about it. We must all work hard to improve it as best as we can. In our present days, we are not doing this because, as you said, it's all about benefits. It's all about how we make money. Organizations do this. UN do this. We are not looking for upgrading the lifestyle. We are looking for how to upgrade our bank accounts, regardless what will going to happen next. It's not a big deal. So I think the conscience of the human being, this is the goal. Our hearts is the goal. We are 7 billion on planet Earth. I think if we find 1 million people who think about the human being values, human lives values, I think it will be a very good start to flourish this kind of morals through all over the world. We must face this kind of I can say evil, this kind of evil. We must face it by doing good, by love each other, regardless your nationality, regardless your color, your anything. Just you are a human being. You are my sister. You are my brother in this life. We must stand beside each other. We must help each other. Very serious, very serious. People are dying. People are dying every moment in Africa, in Asia, in South America, of poverty, of hunger, of a lot of bad things, of pollution. So come on. Why? We have the atomic bombs. We have very advanced weapons that we can, at a second, do anything in this world. We can stop any army from doing anything bad. This is the tongue, or this is the language of the UN. But come on, where's your weapons to face the hunger? Where's your supernatural weapons to face the pollution, to face the hatred around the world? Where's your power in this? Or your power is only in other things. This is we must work on changing the way of thinking, changing the goal. The goal must be changed. That's it.
Yes, 100% agree on this. So, Dr. Shilpa, back to you.
Yes, right. So what I feel is, we need to create awareness, especially in country like India, where people don't read newspaper. They don't even look at, they don't have access to television, to media. So how are they going to come, understand whether there is an issue, there is a problem going on? What they think is only about their own problem, maybe about their daily, how to earn bread and butter for themselves. They don't even know that there is something called hunger, across, or maybe any other global crisis. And as rightly said by Mr. Zaki, the maximum of our funds are being allocated in creating weapons. but we don't think of creating something, valuable for the, for the countrymen or for the citizens, to reduce the problem like hunger or to reduce the problem like climate change. We are not looking at that. No, we need to, take the children, take the entire population towards that type of perspective, that you don't have to look only at yourself or your own problem. You have to look at this problem, the bigger perspective of the problem. What exactly is happening across? You need to reach out to someone to seek help. First of all, we need to seek help, and to seek help, as Zaki sir had said, that yes, we need at least 1 million of population who is enlightened and who would like to work for this cause, and then maybe every one of us would get benefit out of it. But yes, educators like us, people like you all in the forum, we should come together. We need to enlighten people about what is happening, and then we need to reach to the root cause of the problem. And then yes, we also need to enlighten the governments of all the countries that instead of just putting maximum amount of their entire GDP for making weapons and in investing in technology, why don't we invest in human resource, which is the highest resource, the valuable resource across the globe. We need to value them. We need to work towards that. So I think all of us together in the forum can create such type of enlightenment, and maybe we can bring some change to reduce this crisis. Thank you.
Yes, well, what both of you have actually mentioned is absolutely 100% right. And if we bring also the commercial companies into it, the worst thing is that this society is profit-oriented, but what's even worse is it's profit-oriented by cutting the cost. So they're moving and shifting their production to countries where they have a cheap labor, and then they come back to you and say, hey, you need to save environment over there, you need to do that. But when they move their production to either to India or either to Southeast Asia countries or African countries, they're lacking all those standards that they should be paying attention to. So this is another part which actually is sort of shooting us into our legs when we are trying to cope with the problems and challenges that we have right now. And so if we look at another video that we prepared for this discussion, this will show us how they're actually, on one hand, trying to ask people and to save the energy, to save the environment, and on the other hand, somebody is actually profiting on it.
Have you seen the latest electricity bill? It's a nightmare. Of course, I expected the prices to go up, but it's just...
I've seen it. I'm shocked myself. Now we must figure out how we're going to live in the new reality.
But this is ridiculous. What the hell is going on? Are they all out of their minds?
Well, there's no point in panicking anyway. Let's figure out what's going on. Hi. We want to find out why the price of electricity has skyrocketed. Can you explain the reason for that?
First of all, you have to understand that the preconditions for such an increase in electricity prices didn't start yesterday and not even a year ago. What does the electricity price actually consist of? Let's look at the diagram. As you can see from this diagram, the net cost of energy is only 36.2%. 34% is transportation, while the rest, more than 30%, are taxes. And I won't be surprised if this share will continue to grow. In Germany, for example, it is already 50% of the bill.
Wait, even 30% is a lot, while 50% is totally wild. Where does all this money go?
In short, the government uses most of this money for the so-called energy transition to green energy, mostly solar and wind.
Yeah, I've heard that green energy is being actively developed. It is sort of environmentally friendly. So are you saying that's the reason for my unaffordable bill?
Right, that's the main reason. Huge budgets are invested in green energy, while nuclear and thermal power plants are being shut down. How does green energy affect your tariff? It is sold at a special green tariff, and this price is much higher than the price of traditional energy, thermal or nuclear.
Well, let's say, if I don't want to pay more, can I give up green energy?
Well, you see, no one is asking you or me. Electricity tariffs are formed by market laws. In fact, they are not fixed. There is a so-called wholesale energy market, which receives, like a common boiler, all the energy generated in the country, both green and non-green. Every day an average price is set in the market. At this price, energy distribution companies buy electricity and deliver it to you. Therefore, the higher the share of green energy in the total amount of energy generated, the higher your energy bill will be. And here is a very important point. If green power plants stop working due to weather conditions, or if there is not enough green energy generated, the countries have to compensate for this shortage in an emergency mode. What are their options in this case? The first option is to restart their shut down nuclear and thermal power plants, which is very expensive and time-consuming. The second option is to buy energy from other countries, but as you understand, that will be very expensive too. The move towards green energy has made Europe dependent on conventional energy suppliers from other countries. Now, because of the geopolitical situation, we feel it more than ever. We are changing the country that supplies us with gas, and we switch to a more expensive supplier. This more expensive energy is going to enter the wholesale market again, and your bill will go even higher.
I just wonder what our politicians are thinking. After all, if one such external situation causes electricity prices to skyrocket, it's unclear how ordinary people can survive in these conditions.
There goes the market. I thought green energy was our salvation, but it turns out I just pay more for the energy itself, and then even more if something happens to those plants, and even more if something suddenly happens in foreign policy.
What did you say? Green energy is our salvation? It sounds like this salvation is costing us a fortune, but seriously, it's all just a beautiful fairy tale for the public. Though you'd better let someone who works in this field tell you about it, because those are talks about large business.
Here's what I understood. Firstly, a half of my bill is taxes, which mostly go to green energy development. So basically, green energy is sponsored out of my pocket. Secondly, electricity is a commodity like everything else, and it is priced like a stock exchange. The higher the share of green energy with its green tariff is, the higher the price is for me. Whereas if any climatic or geopolitical disasters happen, my electricity bill tends towards infinity.
So you realize that electricity is a basic resource for any production. Increased tariffs cause a significant growth in prices for any goods and services. Once again, it's a hit to our household budgets. Don't we experience this already?
Damn it! If I understand anything about politics, I know nothing about green energy. Why are we even implementing it if it's so expensive and unstable?
To be honest, it's just a very large profitable business. Just imagine if you start a business and get sponsored by the government. You can get benefits and subsidies. They can even pay a loan interest for you and buy you some equipment.
Wait a minute, why would the government do that? Where does this unprecedented generosity come from?
Oh, it's a long story. Have you heard about the theory of anthropogenic impact on climate and CO2 emissions reduction?
Well, Even my 7-year-old daughter knows about that.
There you go. Proponents of this theory are very active in convincing us that it will stop rapid climate change. Many countries are forced to comply with directives to reduce CO2 emissions and develop green energy, even if it does not benefit them. The anthropogenic climate impact theory is a global scam and large business. Why do many people believe in it? Because for 40 years there has been aggressive propaganda of this idea at all levels. No wonder your 7-year-old daughter already knows about it too.
Scam. Really? Are you saying it's all just to make a lot of money?
Why does that surprise you? In the consumerist format, such schemes are already a norm. In 2020, $334 billion were spent on green projects, mostly on solar and wind power plants.
Wow.
So, that's still not enough. Their appetite is growing like a weed. And hiding behind their theory, they claim they need to increase funding to $4 trillion a year.
Damn it. And it's all at our expense? It's a nice scheme, I bet. And everybody wins, except ordinary people who pay for it. What is my bill gonna look like when the investment rises to $4 trillion?
Buddy, no one is going to ask you if you want to sponsor it.
It's not that nobody even asked me. I'm shocked by what I've heard. Nobody actually speaks about it.
Right. In our consumerist world, no one will tell you the truth. But I'm shocked by the other thing. Nobody even tries to study the real causes of climate change. Now climate disasters are already happening all over the globe. The first to suffer are ordinary people, while green energy is simply useless even in bad weather, not to mention cataclysms. Imagine there was a blizzard in the United States last winter. It hit 25 states. Half of the wind turbines stopped. Because of that, 4 million people were left without power. Just think of at negative 25 degrees Celsius.
That's awful. I wouldn't want to be in their shoes. Not only do we pay for all this from our own pockets, but we also risk being left without power in an emergency situation.
Can you imagine if the whole world switched to green energy while cataclysms got even worse? That's it. You're left in a cold house with no electricity or water supply. There is no way to contact your family or call rescue services. People are dying in blackout hospitals. Ventilation and air supply systems stop working. The traffic has stopped. Supplies of medicines and vital products have been discontinued. People empty the grocery stores in panic. Yet, it's already starting to happen. And it's not somewhere in an apocalyptic movie, but in your hometown, with you, your family, and friends.
Come on! I already don't know how I'm going to sleep tonight.
Yeah, this truth just makes my hair stand on end. But it's clear that green energy is a dead end.
So what are our options?
There are already options. Take a fuel-free generator. It gives clean, free, and accessible energy to every home. Only how can it be implemented in our consumer society if it is unprofitable and even dangerous? It would make a huge number of people jobless in the energy sector. Moreover, as long as there is the power of a few, in our crazy world, this technology would be, first of all, turned into a weapon of some kind. You see, we should have changed this stupid format a long time ago, and we really can. We can build a society where human life, and not someone else's business, will be the main priority. It's the creative society. In such a format of society, we will have free energy.
Why exactly this way?
Because in the creative society, energy will belong to all people and would not be a business, and no one would make money on us. Moreover, all people would have free access to reliable information about where all of our money is going, and we would decide ourselves where to invest this money.
Yes, that sounds great, but what can we do right now to make the creative society finally happen to us?
You know, it's a topic for a long and interesting conversation. Pour the tea. I'll tell you all about it now.
Yeah, so as you have seen, this short video exposes a lot about the green energy scam. And I guess that a lot of people, especially our friends in Germany right now, who just had a huge snowfall and during summer, who don't have enough electricity to heat their homes, and they have intermittent power downs, and this is what's happening in what's called the developed country in the 21st century. And well, this is what's happening to the country that was promoting the green energy the most. And they are now trying to revive their coal-powered power stations. But for everyone else, this should serve as an example, because there are already solutions, as was also mentioned in the video, like the fuelless generators. And just recently, I've come across a video on the internet that was showing like a guy literally made in front of the camera an engine that was working on water, and he was showing how to do it. And I guess that it is true that it would be great to implement all these beautiful technologies in our lives, but also, as mentioned in the video, in this consumerist format of society, this will leave a lot of people jobless. And for this, we really need to change the whole format of society. So I would like to ask you, what do you think has to change in society in order for us to be able to receive these new technologies in our lives and use them for the betterment of the lives of everyone? And maybe we can start with Dr. Shilpa.
Yeah. For a country like us, I don't think so. We would be getting addicted to technology that much. We do have developed in all different type of aspects, but then still, since I told you, we have a great digital divide. So it's difficult for all of us to get accustomed to the new technology. But then yes, there is a quite good number of percentage of people who are using technology at their best, at their homes, in their offices, in everywhere. But how much to get used to or get addicted to the technology is again in our hands. And as we all know, what are the repercussions of using too much of technology? So the pandemic has actually taught us to go back to the roots. We have already started going back to having organic food, organic agriculture, using less of technology and less of fertilizers, chemical fertilizers. We are trying to use more of organic things nowadays, and people have understood the importance of organic things now. So instead of running behind the technology and behind the advanced methodologies, can we not survive? No, the basic sustainability can be achieved through simple living. That is what we have learned through the pandemic. And also we have learned that we should have different skills. If we don't have skill, we would not be able to survive. Knowledge on basis of only knowledge, you will not be able to survive. That is what we have learned. And the technology is not always going to help us. And yes, about green energy, we all also in India are trying to get a lot of green energy here. But then yes, as we have already said, it's too costly. We have a lot of solar panels here, but what about the wastage? The wastage which is going to happen, after putting in the solar panels, we have a lot of wastage which we are not even able to dispose of. So there are other aspects of green energy too, which we also need to see. What we are looking at is now, a narrow problem, or we are trying to just resolve what we can see on an immediate basis. But we are not looking at the later, in the long run, what problems we would be facing. So I think we need to, with the help of creative society, the forum, need to tell what exactly the problems would be there in the future, and be ready to face the problem. And before any problem occurs, can we not prevent it? So prevention is always better than cure. So we need to learn to prevent. Like pandemic, we could have prevented. We could have learned about some things happening across, and then we could have stopped something, which would have not happened. And now we could see large number of people are no more now because of the pandemic. So something which we could have understood before, and we would have tried to stop the problem. So that is what we, as a part of the creative society, should now look forward to, stopping the problem and creating awareness amongst everyone. Thank you.
Yes, prevention is always good, and that leads to also to education and learning things and stuff. Same here in our country, there are there are donations, there are subventions for building all these green energy stuff, and then you find out that it actually, after you're building it up, and you find out that it's actually polluting the environment even more than it was done before. Do you have something like, from the green energy part in Egypt with some other examples that we can share with our viewers that could actually show the, don't want to say stupidity, but stupidity of this system, and that we actually are supporting it?
Yeah. I'll tell you something important. In Egypt, we have natural sources, which is very rich, but it's unused. We have the sun, and we have the wind, okay? And we have water from the high dam, the Nile River. We can make it. We already make electricity from the high dam of the Nile River, but we don't ever think about the sun, the energy of the sun, which is for free. And in Egypt, it's 98% of Egypt is desert. Okay, we are 100 million people living on 3% only from the whole map of Egypt. We don't ever think about using the energy, the useful energy of the sun that we have, and it's a great treasure. It's something very rich. We don't ever think about this. And some people, to be honest, in the last 15 or 20 years, they talked about this. Why we don't use this useful energy? The answers was, it's very expensive, it will take a lot of time, it's blah, 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 things like, come on, if you want to do something, you will do it, okay? And also the wind, we have the wind. And so Egypt is depending 100% on the pollution energy, the polluted energy, and this is, of course, affects, this is make, the green lands become desert, and there's, we have a lack of a lot of things. We have in Egypt a lack of food, like for agriculture. We have a big lack in agriculture in Egypt because of this, and they prefer to pay billions of dollars to bring polluted energy than to spend millions, not billions, millions of dollars to create sun energy or wind energy, between practice, useful energy. So the politics in Egypt, the leaders in Egypt, they don't want to go this way. They choose the other way. Maybe it's easier, but it's harmful. On the long run, it will destroy everything. It will destroy the society. It will destroy the lives. It will destroy the quality of life. It will destroy everything. They choose this way. The other way, it's the right way. In Egypt, we have treasures. We have a lot of treasures in our desert, but they don't want to think. They don't know how to think. No, they don't want to think. They care about their chairs. They care about their possessions, and they don't care about 100 million people. So this is the point that I want to say.
Yes, and it's true that you said that they care about their chairs and positions, and this is the main issue in our society, that people in power, they care about their positions and money, but we as people who elect them, we do not stand together to say that we no longer support this way of living. And maybe this is what we need. This should be the main takeaway of all our discussions of the forum and everything that we are trying to do, to say that we should unite everywhere on the planet together in one idea that we would like to live differently. We would like to live in a society where human life is the highest value. And then we would not be talking about these kind of things all the time. We would be talking about a great progress that our science has made, because science would be directed to benefit the humanity, to improve the lives of everyone living on this planet. And we are really looking forward to this time where much more people, like at least half of the population of this planet, knows about it. But better yet, everyone. Only then we will be able to formulate this demand for everyone to say, look, we would like to live differently. And politicians, they just execute what the public wants. So we should be this united public that expresses the wish of living differently. Well, we would like to thank you for your contribution, for your participation today. It was really a great pleasure to seeing you. And Robert, I don't know if you want to add anything else to this.
Yeah, I will just really briefly cut in what actually occurred during this discussion is when Wissam was also talking a lot about the energy. It's really strange that, for example, where it would sort of make a sense to build up these kind of alternate green energy stuff, they're not doing it. But in the countries where they for sure know that they would pay for it, but it doesn't make sense to build it up there. Oh yeah, they're pushing it there. So this clearly shows the irony and non-functioning of the system that we live at the moment. So I agree, as you said, we need to create a demand, because that's how the system works, where there is a demand. So then the companies are trying to supply. So we need to create a demand that, yes, we want to change it. We want to live differently. And we have to unite on this thought that we need to change the format of the society. So thank you very much, everybody, for today's discussion. You can follow us on social media. You can follow us on the internet at creativesociety.com. You can write us an email about your inspirations or what would you like to hear about at info@creativesociety.com. So, and we're looking forward for your inputs, thoughts, and to meet you in the future international discussions as well. Thank you both to our guests. It was a pleasure talking to you today. And have a wonderful rest of the day and evening.